If you're thinking about moving to Winnipeg, or maybe you're already here, one of the biggest and most common questions I get is there any family-friendly neighborhood that is still affordable? Well, in today's video, we'll dive deep into that. I'll showcase especially three neighborhoods that I think are the best family-friendly neighborhoods and that are still affordable. Because let's be honest, there's areas out there in Winnipeg that have houses that have been selling on offers day with 20, 25, even 30 offers on offers day, I've heard. So I think there's other areas that you could explore that are in less demand. You can get still a good house, pretty solid, within reasonable budget, without breaking the bank, and you still have shops, malls, and parks, and good schools nearby. So we'll check into that. Three of the best affordable, family-friendly neighborhoods in Winnipeg are East Kildonan, Transcona, and St. James. We'll talk about average sale price, square footage, a little bit of history, and activities or parks that you can go that are nearby. First, let's talk about the most central and convenient area of the city, St. James. That's the number one, which comprises many neighborhoods, but I want to talk about two specific ones. That's Crestview and Silver Heights. These are very family-friendly neighborhoods along Portage Avenue. These neighborhoods are located in the west side of Winnipeg, just 10 to 15 minutes away from downtown. You're close to the airport. You're close as well to one of the biggest shopping malls in Winnipeg, which is Polo Park. So you have everything there. You have shops, malls, restaurants, everything along the Portage Avenue. You have easy transit. So it is pretty convenient, especially for first-time home buyers. St. James is actually one of Winnipeg's original districts because houses there have well over a century, especially the area closer to Polo Park. Houses were built in the early 1900s. The further you move towards the perimeter, the more recent house will be, for example, the neighborhood of Crestview, which is along the Perimeter Highway in the west. Houses there were built later, like in the 1970s. The area has also strong ties to the Canadian aviation history because of the nearby Air Force Base. You can even visit the Air Force Heritage Museum and Air Park, which displays the aircrafts that they used to have, and of course from the Royal Canadian Air Force. Families also love the green spaces in St. James. One unique place is Living Prairie Museum, which preserves one of the last tall grass prairie in Manitoba. Basically a small park where families can walk trails and discover the ecosystems that used to be in the region. Speaking of trails, you can also walk along the Sturgeon Creek just to have fun, exercise, all the way to Assiniboine River, in which you can skate in winter, and venture crossing the bridge onto Assiniboine Park. Another community hub is St. James Civic Center, which has a hockey arena, a swimming pool, or many programs for kids. You may be wondering, what's the average price of a home there? Well, the average price of a house there, it's just below the 400,000 mark, and the size of a home is around the 1,200 square feet. Most of the homes were built in the 1950s and 1970s, so you'll see a lot of bungalows with family-friendly neighborhoods. Overall, St. James is great for families who want a central location, great schools, tons of green space, and lots of amenities. Now, let's move on to one of the most tight-knit communities in Winnipeg on the other side of the city, which is Transcona. This area is located in the east of Winnipeg and is famous for having a strong community culture. Everyone that is from there, they're considered as a different town inside the city. Transcona was built as a railway town. In fact, the name comes from Transcontinental Railway and Lord Strathcona, who played a major role in Canada's railway history. Because of this, railroads played a huge part in the local economy. Today, sports teams and symbols reference the railway. One thing that makes Transcona really special is the community events. So every year they host a festival that's called High Neighbor. And it started back in 1964. Can you imagine how many years they have hosted for every single year? That's insane. This festival includes parades, concerts, kids activities, and fireworks, among other things. They even have a mascot, which is the statue when you enter Transcona, High Neighbor Sam. Well, they have that mascot. Why families like it? Because of its quiet residential streets, tons of parks, you have a more tied together community, and the more affordable housing. Because it's further from downtown, you can get more house for less price. The average price of a home there, it's around the 370,000, and square footage wise, we're talking about 1,300 square feet. That's the average that we see in that neighborhood. Most of the homes were built between the 1950s and 1980s, with the newer homes closer to the perimeter. Now let's move on to the third neighborhood, most affordable and family friendly, which is East Kildonan. This neighborhood is located in the northeast of Winnipeg along the Red River, and it's known for its very family-oriented neighborhood. Now, you can see that people that grew up in these neighborhoods stayed there long term, and they even have like multiple generations living there nearby. It also has great amenities nearby. For example, Kildonan Place, which it's a cluster of many shops, restaurants, and tons of activities to go and services. You can also, for outdoors, go to Kildonan Park, which is a huge park in the north side of the city, closer to the perimeter, which tons of activities like golf, walking trails, and even a dog park. One of the things that people love about this area is, again, the quiet residential streets, but you also have the connectivity to major roads, so you get the best of both worlds. A typical home in East Kildonan sells for around the 400,000 mark. The newer the home, the more expensive it will be. And for living area, the average size is around the 1,100 square feet. Many of these homes were built between the 1950s to the 1970s. So, if you're looking for affordable neighborhoods, family friendly, these three areas are worth considering. So if you forgot everything I mentioned before, just remember this. St. James, great location, tons of amenities. Transcona community, great. Family friendly as well, that's great. And East Kildonan, quiet residential streets and great parks. What's the best neighborhood for you? Well, that will depend where you work, what type of home you'd like, and of course your budget. If you're planning to buy a home in Winnipeg, don't hesitate to reach out. I explain the process of buying and selling, especially within Winnipeg. It's very, very different from other cities and even outside the perimeter in Winnipeg. Don't forget to subscribe if you found this video useful, and hit a like button. That helps me reach more people like you, and I'll see you in the next video.